The reflection that shouldn't exist. My name is Mark. I'm 37 years old, and I live alone in an old apartment on the outskirts of Columbus, Ohio. I am not a superstitious person. I never have been. I work as a network technician. My job revolves around logic, systems, and measurable signals, cables, routers, servers, monitors. Problems have causes. Failures can be traced. Noise can be filtered. That is how the world makes sense to me. If I cannot see something, test it, or measure it, I do not believe in it. And that is exactly why what happened to me still terrifies me. It started with a feeling, a familiar one, the kind everyone experiences at least once, the sensation that someone is standing behind you. Normally, you turn around, see nothing, blame fatigue or imagination, and move on. For me, it did not end there. That night, it was a little after 11. I was sitting on my old leather couch, the television on in front of me, not because I was watching it, but because I needed background noise. A podcast about the early history of the internet was playing. The HDMI input wasn't connected. The screen was mostly black, glossy and reflective, with only a small manufacturer logo glowing faintly in the corner. A black surface, deep, shiny, like a window into nothing. As I leaned forward to grab the remote from the coffee table, I noticed something in the reflection. Not clearly, not fully, just wrong. In the black surface of the screen, where I should have seen a vague, distorted version of myself in the room, there was something taller than where I was sitting, just slightly. A stretched, uneven shadow. My heart slammed into my chest. I turned around instantly. There was nothing there. Only the shadow of a houseplant on the wall, cast by a dim lamp. I laughed it off, told myself I was tired. Too many hours staring at screens, eye strain, nothing more. But the feeling came back. Not constantly, not every night, only when I was alone, and only when there was a turned-off screen nearby. A closed laptop, a dark monitor, a black television. It felt like those glossy black surfaces were feeding something. The reflections began to change. I never saw a clear figure, never a face, only things that should not have been there. One night I was at my desk, the large monitor turned off while I untangled cables underneath. My head was down, shoulders hunched. When I looked up, my eyes were drawn to the black screen. I saw myself, and behind me, something darker than the rest of the room. Not a shadow from the lamp, not my own silhouette. It looked like a dense absence of light, as if whatever it was did not reflect illumination, but absorbed it. The shape was wrong, unstable, like something standing directly behind my shoulders. I spun around, gasping. Nothing. The office was silent, still. I tried to think logically, blamed the angle of the desk lamp, visual fatigue, a migraine aura. I went to an eye doctor. My prescription hadn't changed. Everything was normal. Then the sounds began. Not footsteps, not whispers, more like low-level noise, a faint, constant hiss, the kind you only notice when everything else is quiet. When I wore headphones, it felt like I was listening to it. When my laptop was running, the fan would sometimes ramp up suddenly. That was normal, until it wasn't. Because I started noticing that the fan surged at the exact moment the screen went black. Screensaver, power save, black. And at that same moment, that feeling returned. as if someone had stepped closer. The worst part came when I realized something else. My reflection was delayed. Only slightly, a fraction of a second. But I work with latency, with ping, with delay. I know what it looks like. When I moved my hand in the air, reality responded instantly. But in the reflection of the turned-off television in my bedroom, my hand followed, late, as if moving through thick liquid. That night I tested it. I stood in front of the dark television with the lights on, the room fully visible. I raised my right hand slowly. In the reflection, my hand rose a moment later. I tilted my head. The reflection lagged behind. It was subtle, but unmistakable. I did not sleep that night. I made coffee and stared at the wall until morning. This was no longer fear. It was an anomaly, a bug in reality. I decided to document it. I bought a high-quality security camera and set it up on a tripod in the living room, not to record myself, but to record the turned-off television. If it was real, the camera would see it too. For 3 nights, nothing happened. The footage showed a quiet apartment and a tired man pacing back and forth. On the 4th night, I found it. Not in motion, in a single frame. At 30 frames per second, during the moment I bent down to pick up a mug, there was one frame where my reflection was gone. The room was not empty. Where I should have been, there was a dense, dark mass, uneven, shifting, like thick smoke frozen into the vague shape of a human body. The frames before and after were normal. Only one frame. My hands shook as I watched it again and again. That same night, while lying in bed, my phone screen turned on by itself. No notification, no call, just black. For a split second. Then it went dark again, like something had taken a breath. After that, the feeling changed. It no longer felt like something was behind me. It felt like something was watching me from the other side. As if black screens were not mirrors, but windows. The night I left the apartment was the worst. It was 2:40 a.m. The living room was dimly lit by streetlights through half-open curtains. The television was off. I sat on the couch pretending to read. My eyes drifted to the reflection. I saw myself, tired, gray, still, and behind me, a black halo, clearer than before. I could almost make out a head, broad shoulders, no face. I did not blink. I did not turn around. I whispered, "I know you're there." The television turned on. No image, no menu, only static, loud, violent. In the center of the noise, something pushed forward, like a hand pressing against fabric from the other side. I screamed. I ran. I spent the night in a cheap motel. The next day, I called my friend Alex. He didn't say I was crazy. He said, "Come stay with me. It has been 6 months. We don't have a television. Unused monitors are covered. Windows are blocked at night. But sometimes, when my phone screen goes dark in a quiet room, I still feel it. Watching. Waiting. I will never look at a turned-off screen the same way again."